I don't know about you, but when I think about unfairness and injustice in the world, I feel sad or angry or hopeless. And I think those are normal human emotions to experience. But they also aren't our only option. In this episode, I'm going to explain the key difference between political and emotional resistance. And I'm going to share the value of radical acceptance in your personal and political life. Hello, and welcome to the final episode of this limited mini-series I'm doing here on the podcast with a sneak peek of each chapter of my book, Take Back Your Brain. I cannot believe we've gotten to the end because that means, drum roll, the book is basically here. If you're listening to this on Monday, May 20th when it comes out, then the book releases tomorrow. And if it is Tuesday, May 21st or later, then the book is out. It's in the world. It's everywhere. Today, we are talking about chapter 10 of the book, which is all about how to use feminist mindset work to help you relate to the larger world in a better way. This chapter addresses some really important questions that I think most self-help books and teaching shy away from. A lot of self-help or self-development work seems to be imagined in a vacuum, without relation to the real problems in the world, much less to structural forms of oppression and marginalization. This is a pity because the practical philosophy of thought work is an incredible source of strength and resilience when times are challenging. And the power of human imagination and determination are the only things that have ever changed conditions in the world for the better. So in chapter 10 of the book, we talk about some of what we're up against. And we also talk about anger as a natural reaction to some of these systems and this awareness. There's nothing wrong with anger. And for some people, it's a positive, powerful, radicalizing force. And then for other people, it leaves them in burnout and exhaustion. And only you and your nervous system know how you respond to different emotions. There isn't a right or wrong or universal application to this. And sometimes when people talk about the positive forms of anger, I'm actually not sure that they mean the physiological experience of anger. I think they mean feeling a strong moral indignation that is connected to their values, right? But is a mix at least of a kind of thought and feeling, and possibly more just a thought. For me, when I feel actually physically angry, like seeing red, mad physically, I am not thinking clearly. I am not connected to my values. I am not strategic. I am not effective. I am much more likely to lash out or like shove it down and burn out. And you may be the same. So for us, I'd like to offer that there's a difference between political and emotional resistance. There's a difference between working to change the world and feeling all the time like you are in emotional resistance and that the world should be different and that not only has something gone wrong with the world being the way it is, but that you are unwilling to accept that current reality is current reality. And in this chapter of the book, I really talk about the paradox of how radical acceptance can free us to make change. Because radical acceptance and emotional acceptance are not about condoning reality. It's not about saying, this is awesome. It's about seeing reality clearly and releasing the emotional resistance so that we can change it. So we actually have some resources available to us emotionally. So in this chapter, I also talk about how believing that we can't make change or that we can't make change that's big enough to matter, or that we have to have certain emotions to prove we're a good person and that matters more than what we're actually doing in the world, are ways that oppressive systems keep us participating in maintaining them. And I also talk in this chapter of the book about the kind of globalization of social media and the effect that has on our brains and on our ability to see our own power in the world and to understand what an appropriate scope of action is. And finally, I recommend something that I call radical action, which may or may not look radical on the outside, but it is radical in that it takes you out of spin and into action, and in that it rejects all of the messages from society that tell you that you can't make a difference. And I share the most important perspective change you need to not get overwhelmed by the bigness of the world's problems. So I teach you in this chapter how to focus on small strategic actions that you can actually take. Anything you want in the world requires changing your thinking and starting from somewhere, right? And being willing to take small actions until they build into big ones. And that requires changing our thinking to allow us to do that. But I also know that coming up with new thoughts is one of the hardest things to do. And that's why this week, our last bonus is available, and that is the Encyclopedia of New Thoughts. So this is literally 30 plus pages of lists of new thoughts that you can try thinking. I have never put together anything like this before. It is so many new thoughts. It is organized by topic. It is searchable in a PDF. Whatever you're having trouble coming up with a new thought about, you can just read through the encyclopedia, or you can search keywords to find a great thought that you can adjust or adapt or just use exactly as it's written, right? And the encyclopedia also walks you through how to know if you actually believe a new thought, which is a crucial aspect of creating a new neural pattern. People have been asking me for years what they should think instead of their old thoughts. And I've always refused to tell people what to think because I'm not out here trying to run a cult. And I'm still not telling you what to think in terms of insisting that you think a certain way. But I do see the value of having some examples. And so I have finally created this resource with so many sample and suggestion thoughts. And on top of being a great list of thoughts to borrow, I think seeing all the different formats of thoughts is going to help you learn how to brainstorm your own thoughts way better. But you may not even need them because there's so many thoughts in this bonus. So the Encyclopedia of New Thoughts is free with your order. If you order today, it's a pre-order. If you order starting tomorrow, it's just an order. How exciting is that? But it is available when you order the book this week. This is our pub week. This is our release week. It's a super important week to get orders in, give us a shot at taking this feminist mindset work to a bestseller list, which means taking it to public awareness, right? I would not have done all this work to get my name on a bestseller list just for myself. I have good self-confidence. I've worked on my thoughts. It's not for me. It's because I want the tools that I teach, the concepts that I teach, the seriousness with which I take women's mental and emotional lives and their true empowerment to be as respected and taken seriously by society and the culture as it should be. And for better or worse in this world, getting on a bestseller list is one of the ways to try to do that. So if you have not ordered, if you were waiting because you just wanted to order when you could get it right away and you don't like anticipation, now is the time, my friend. Now's the time. And you will get the Encyclopedia of New Thoughts, 30 pages. Did I say 30 pages? Did I mention that? 30 pages of thoughts for every area of your life. Searchable, organized by topic. You are never, ever, ever going to have to tell yourself, I don't know what else I could think instead anymore. And anytime your brain does tell you that, you're going to be like, brain, pick a thought from this incredible encyclopedia. So this is an instant access bonus. As soon as you place the order, you'll be able to access the bonus, but you got to order this week. So go to unfuckyourbrain.com/book or text your email to +1 347 997 1784. And the code word is book. There is a limited first run of the book. Your publisher decides how many they print, and there's a certain amount printed. And then when those sell out, they got to print new copies, and then there's a delay. So you don't want to have to wait. You don't want to have to sell out. We hit our pre-order target 2 weeks ago, and people have kept ordering since then. So I really recommend you order it now to make sure you get one from the first printing. My friend who's a therapist read the book and said, this book is going to save people a decade of therapy. So what more needs to be said? It's going to change your life. If we can get it on a bestseller list, it's going to reach so many women who would otherwise never hear about it. And it's going to take our mission a step further into the public awareness to reach so many more women and help them change their lives. You are already part of that mission just for listening to the podcast. I know so many of you pre-ordered the book, for which I think all of us are so grateful, because this work growing will only make the world better and help more women change their lives. And if you haven't, it's go time, baby. Let's go. Unfuckyourbrain.com/book if you want that Encyclopedia of New Thoughts bonus, or you can text your email to +1 347 997 1784. The code word is book. And if you want that Encyclopedia of New Thoughts, order through us, and otherwise order wherever you want, because the book is out this week.